All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Gabe, Heck, Aiden, Goose, Jarred, and Kyle. We're stacked, guys. Ride the wave. In this episode, we have special guests Jarred Colligon and Kyle Currey. We cover topics that range from charity, volunteer work, homelessness, education, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Jim Rohn Ghandi. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things on. Gentlemen from the Wayve, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
No doubt. Thank you, Jimmylee.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
For sure. All right, so for those of us who do not know who you all are, just give us a little bit of background and, what you do.
So my name's Kyle Currey. I'm a student at a community college of Philadelphia. I'm a business major, and we just started the Wayve because we wanted to give back to the community and be self-sustainable.
I like it.
Nice, yeah, man. Nice. I'm Jarred Colligon. I just graduated from LaSalle University in May.
Nice.
And, it's really what inspired me to want to do what we're doing here.
Cool. All right, so explain to us what the Wayve is, what the product or service is, and how it came about.
Yeah, man. So we're the founders of the Wayve. It's our startup company. It's a service funded and made sustainable by the sale of products such as T-shirts and hoodies. However, we plan to eventually have anything you need except for greed.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
I like it. All right, so specifically, what does your company do? How do you guys give back?
That's a good question. So, as I was saying, we're a lifestyle brand. We're aimed to create a change in the way that companies do business, and we believe that bringing back the sense of community is very important. And by working hand in hand with other companies and organizations who have similar goals of making a positive impact on the surrounding communities, spreading the love of helping others, and utilizing our social entrepreneur skill sets, we know we'll be successful in our future endeavors. Our most important product sold is the Ripple package.
Okay.
That'll be funded. That'll be handed out at different places throughout Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. And we'll get into a little bit more about that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so what made you want to start the Wayve?
So we actually have our own stories on how we got involved with doing this.
Yeah.
And they kind of became intertwined.
Yeah, so I started out going to school in Philadelphia and volunteering at different soup kitchens and food pantries, and I got to directly see the people who needed help the most, and it made me have a feeling inside that something just had to be done.
Right on.
So I've reached out to a few close friends of mine when we first got started and asked if ever I could chip in like $20 or so, and we would go to a dollar store and buy a bunch of products to give out to homeless people.
Yeah.
And while we were doing that, we did that for a couple months, and we started talking about how we could make that like self-sufficient and how we can take it further and help more people. So while brainstorming how we could do that, we came up. I was thinking about my buddy from Jay's Steak and Hoagie joint.
Yeah.
His name's Jason Green, and he sells a pretzel roll cheesesteak. And for every pretzel roll sold, he gives 25 or 50 cents, I forget, to the local food banks every month.
Nice.
And he donates like 500 pounds of food every month because of this. So
awesome.
We started thinking about what type of products we could sell to be able to fund the care packages. So T-shirts are the main goal, and those selling the T-shirts and the other articles of clothing, we're going to be able to fill these Ripple packages to give out to people.
I like it. So to step back a little bit, you guys, Jarred, what did you go to school for?
So I went to school for integrated science, business, and technology with a minor in entrepreneurship.
I like it.
This is where the entrepreneur in me is coming out.
I like it. And you went to Kyle. You went for business, right?
Yeah.
Nice. So you guys figure somehow you're going to apply, the knowledge, obviously, that you gained from there into, the startup company. And so, from my understanding, you started in Philadelphia. right? And from, getting some, funding from, buddies of your all, what made you were looking around and all of a sudden you found the need? Because a lot of times businesses and people start up companies because they find a need and they want to fill, that void. Is that something that happened with you all?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
So like I said before, going to school in Philadelphia, you see homelessness and you see poverty every corner you turn, realistically. And it's just sad. We wanted to... Seeing that, volunteering at the soup kitchens really made me want to do something about it. And when we were brainstorming some ideas, we came up with this similar solution to Tom's Shoes. How they sell shoes and then they give a pair of shoes.
Sure.
So that's where the Ripple package comes into play.
Okay.
I'll tell you a little bit about that. And so like I said, it started when we were brainstorming, and basically how we came up with a solution to help people living out on the street without directly handing them money that can be used for harmful things. So the easiest and most effective thing to do is create these Ripple packages and make them easily accessible for everyone in the community, keeping their cars, so that when they're out traveling and you're basically going down the boulevard, you see someone on the side of the road and you're like, hey, I really want to give something to them, but I don't want to give them money because I don't know where that's going to go.
Sure.
So having that Ripple package in your car kind of enables you to be like, all right, I got this. I know you can't misuse the socks, foot powder, protein snacks, water, stuff like that.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what exactly? I know you gave a couple items. What's exactly in a Ripple pack?
So. We have all types of hygiene products to give people their self-worth back, and also some protein snacks and water. And in the winter, we're going to have winter hats and hand warmers, stuff like that. There's always socks because that's a hot commodity. And more importantly, inside the Ripple packages will be a brochure that will help empower people to find the resources they need to better their situations. So inside this brochure, we're going to have a map of the area that we're handing the Ripple packages out to. And on that map, it's going to outline, we're going to have icons for different police stations, crisis centers, homeless shelters, food pantries, other organizations that have meals at certain times during the week and stuff like that. And we think that by giving people a map, they can look find out where they are and how close they can find the resources that they might need to enable them to do something different.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just as, we were just at a local mall here, me and my family, and it was interesting to me. I never use this. I don't know. It's because every time I go to the mall, I know exactly where I'm going. Sure. But so many people walk up to that directory and they look at especially Franklin Mills. Franklin Mills Mall is huge. Yeah. And instead of wasting time, I guess, or just literally just not knowing and wandering around, anything, and we talk about communication. Communication's key. Anything that's going to give somebody some level of direction, because sometimes people are so lost.
Yeah. So to go off of what you said there with the directory.
Yeah.
So when I would go to these soup kitchens in Philadelphia, for example, the Blessed Sarnelli House right in Kensington.
Yeah.
On our way there, we basically took a school van with a bunch of people, and on the way there, you'd see people with signs saying they're hungry, and we'd stop and be like, hey, we're on our way right down around the block, basically.
Yeah.
You guys are hungry,
right.
Follow us. It's right around the corner. You get a nice warm meal, fill your stomachs up. Yeah,
I like that. Just to bring it back a little bit, the company's called the Wayve. I hear you have Ripple packages. So what's this whole thing behind the ocean of ours, and what's that all about?
That's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So most people think right away, because we're the Wayve, that it's like the ocean, especially with the symbol that we have being the wave.
I like it.
So it doesn't have kind of has a correlation to waves at the beach, because they're just going to keep going. They're just going to keep flowing.
Sure.
And on top of that, the way we spell it is a little bit different. So we're spelled Wayve.
Right.
Because we're the way of doing business differently to try and help out the less fortunate people of Philadelphia and the surrounding communities.
Gotcha. So it's not the wave as in the coolest thing happening right now. Yeah. It's not the wave like the Bryce Harper wave on second base.
It is what you want it to be.
I like it.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
I like it. That's awesome. So what does it look like when someone approaches you all and they say they want a Ripple package? Like, how does that interaction or transaction work?
So we have different ways of distributing the Ripple packages. So sometimes we arrange a drop where we're going to go down to like an area that we know that homeless people and people with addiction are normally, like the convention center, for instance.
Yeah.
It has a lot of homeless shelters around that area. So we'll do that and just hand them out to anybody we see that needs them. But we also are going to be working hand in hand with different food pantries and food banks so that they always have Ripple packages. So when people are coming in to get the things that they need, they're also going to have access to this information that can help them help themselves more.
Yeah. Because a lot of times they say, you can do what what your ability is, but once you provide someone with that information, they're going to probably take that and run with it. Hopefully. I mean, obviously that's the goal. And their situation is, in their mind, however they got there, it's, it is what it is. But the fact that you're out there helping and not judging, because a lot of times people just drive by, judge the living daylights out of somebody, and then keep going and might not even stop at that red light or at that stop sign to even think twice about it. And regardless of whatever choices or decisions got them there, I don't even know if it's up to us to even apply judgment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The only thing we could, reach out is a helping hand. I think honestly, that's, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength there.
I like that. He was waiting for
entire I was like, oh, come
on the way here, how can I use wavelength? So how do you think you guys differ from other charities, or that you want to differ?
Yeah, so based off kind of like what you were saying, like with people being judgmental and not even knowing the person's story.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing you can do. Judge a book by its cover.
100%.
You never want to judge a book by its cover, because that could just as easily be you out on them streets. So 100%. It's like, we really want to empower these people by telling their stories.
Yeah,
kind of share their stories, tell other people like, hey, like, this is what happened. This person wasn't drugs. This person might have been drugs. This person might have just got fired from his job and now he's out on the streets. Everyone's different.
Sure.
So it's like, that's what we want to get across to people so that they understand, like, hey, some people aren't just like, people make that general assumption, oh, it's just a bum, get a job, this, that, or third. It's like, hey, like, that's not always the case, man.
Right. So I know you guys are fully based in the Philadelphia area, but prior to the show starting, we talked about potential expansion or where you would like to go once this takes off here. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So we do a lot of work in Philadelphia, but we're also making these brochures available for Butts County and that area as well. Nice. So we're going to start spreading ourselves out to all of the surrounding counties so that everybody has access to the resources they need. And going back to what you guys were saying prior, it doesn't matter your situation that you may be in. We're going to have resources that help empower that situation. So we're also going to team up with a company that finds people jobs and people that find housing and stuff like that. So we're going to be spread out all over the place just to give people access to resources that they might not have access to.
I like it. So when you guys get together and the ideas start flowing, how do you stop and pick one? Do you just start small with like the Ripple package? Like, all right, I know I want to do a million other things and provide housing. And who knows, you might end up, purchasing a large building where you can help house temporarily some folks who need that.
Yeah.
But starting off small, it's hard because as an entrepreneur, as a dreamer, as all of us are here, your ideas are just floating all around. You just got to grab one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll just be just doing that day in and day out, floating around thinking about ideas and not, the action.
Yeah, so in the beginning when we were brainstorming ideas, that's like kind of what was happening. We're like, oh, we can do this, and this, and this.
Right.
And then we came to the realization, we're like, wait, why would we do all of these different things when realistically, like, there's people already doing that? Why don't we collaborate with them, work together as a team, build ourselves and build their organizations as well? So that's what we realized. It takes a lot more weight off of our shoulders and kind of helps them help us help others. So
That's cool. There's a position in the medical field, which is I have a little bit of background in. The person's called a liaison, and they basically were connecting our patients with other facilities that can better help them, right? So if a patient had like a heart condition, they're connecting them with a cardiologist, and that's their expertise, right? It's kind of like what you guys are now. You guys are that liaison from the streets to the resources, basically. Yep. I like that because it goes again. It's a connection. You're connecting with people. You're providing a service. You're providing a product, and it's positive energy.
Exactly.
And I love the whole thing where it's like don't judge a book by its cover, because you never know. You never know when one of us could be in that same position,
or may have before.
Exactly. All right, so how, outside of collaborating with other companies and the expansion that way, I know you guys are just starting, but do you have any plans for marketing or getting yourself out there? It's outside of being on one of the best podcasts ever, the Rotated Views. What else you guys have in store? Is there any way you're trying to market yourselves, or you have any like social media handles or anything?
Yeah.
Well, we definitely are available on all social media platforms, but we're also going to be hosting a couple of events in the local areas to try and bring people out and connect with more like-minded individuals.
Yeah. So if an individual were to come up to you and say, I have a couple $100 I would like to donate to you all, what would that look like for you? Are you guys putting Ripple packages together, or how does that look?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It really depends, because there's a lot of things that you can do with $100.
Sure.
So it's like, we would want to ask the person, it's like, hey, do you want to just give this to us and see what we can do with it?
Yeah.
Or do you want to like specify where your money wants to go? Because a lot of companies don't really give that option.
Right.
It's just like, all right, thanks for the $100. And
sure.
Yeah, thanks. Like, now just watch what we do. Whereas like, we're going to be like, hey, what do you want 10 Ripple packages for that? Or
right.
do you want 5 Ripple packages for yourself, 5 to give to us, so that you can have 5 in your car, and then when you're driving down the road you can give them out, and then 5 to us so you can see like when we're out and about, when we're on social media, because that's like you said, that's like one of the most important aspects nowadays is social media.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And that's another thing that's kind of going to separate us from a lot of these companies, is that a big following on the social media. Kids nowadays, they're all about it, and we want to help try and inspire other people to do what we're doing.
And that gives them definitely their own kind of hand in where everything's going towards.
Exactly.
Well, we were just talking about transparency, and a lot of times these bigger companies, they are doing great work, but they're so big that we have no idea what our $25 is going to, and it's fantastic that in the back of our minds, they're doing something good. But it's almost like, not that you want the recognition that, I just gave you something. It's more like, I want to see what my donation is doing, like visually and physically.
Like, how many meals did you just provide, or how many people did you just empower out of a situation?
Exactly.
And in what area did you help them in? Like, is it Philadelphia? Is it Washington, D.C.? Is it a different area? We're going to have social media handles for each one of those cities, so that we show you exactly where those finances are going towards.
I like it. And that's huge, because sometimes it's kind of like what you're saying. Sometimes you have a preference of where you want your donation to impact. We had a good friend of ours here from All Around Removal, Dante Reeves. Shout out to Dante. He just posted this past weekend where they went around the neighborhood he grew up in, and they cleaned up that neighborhood, cut the grass, pulled some trash out. And it was absolutely fantastic to see. And all those around him is almost like follow the leader kind of thing. Yeah. And they saw the impact that he just did. I just got the chills. Other people were watching that on social media. All of us saw that, right? So now all of us are thinking, dang, I can clean up my old neighborhood. They're out for 2 hours from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, when most people probably wake up at 10. They just, sacrificed 2 hours, and they made such an impact. You should see the comments on their social media handles and everything. Just people thanking them. People not even from here. People from California are like, "That's dope, dude. I like what you guys are doing." It was the first time he ever did it. Anybody and everybody can get inspired and impacted by something like that. So when you do something locally, and I say, here's $100, I want it to impact somewhere in Bucks County. You could pick where, but I just know I have that feeling of gratitude, and I'm giving back to my town, and that's where it starts, I think.
Yeah, and that's funny you mentioned like cleaning up the neighborhood and stuff like that, because Earth Day that just passed, me, Kyle, we got together with a group of our friends, went out around like where my apartment is in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Whole lot of trash, like everywhere.
Yeah.
We went out for like a couple hours, picked up all the trash. We did like, they call it like a trash tag.
Okay.
So like on Instagram, on Twitter and stuff like that, you'll see that like hashtag going around. It's like they have like a before and after picture.
Oh, nice.
And it's pretty cool. They show like what it looked like beforehand and then what it looks like after, and it's like, wow.
That's
like,
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And still topping in, or tagging in on the whole transparency thing. You talked about what what the funding is going to be. There's a lot of times, like I said, I mean, even sometimes, not for nothing, and we all know it's unfortunate, but sometimes we don't even know where our money's going when we donate it to churches. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's like where they should be. That's where it should really start, setting the tone. But if you guys can have this whole layout, saying $10 gets us here. This is what we're doing in this area, wherever you want. That's cool. So, and I do like the drop-off idea, because I myself distribute T-shirts, and they call it like trunk pushing. And so you're just with a bunch of T-shirts in the back trunk, literally. Yo, you out here? No, I'm not. I'm like, oh my gosh, all right, I'm gonna make another pit stop, and then I'll come back. And it's like, dude, this is craziness. And it's fine for the beginning, but after a while, you're like, dude, this is exhausting. I got to figure out a better idea. Mm-hmm. So, what if you guys seen them as of lately, they have these whole pop-up shop things. So obviously, I'm thankful enough. I have my brother owns a Riverside barbershop, so I'll have pop-up shops here. Where like, all right, everyone who wanted a T-shirt in the last month, meet me at Miguel's Riverside barbershop within this 2-hour time frame. We'll make it happen. But yeah, I think it's all about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
That's awesome. But that's cool if you guys can get some like a group together. Whether it's Earth Day or not, just showing that's part of your brand.
Yeah.
Right. It's and if you're setting the tone, setting the example in that way, and people are seeing it without like the pots and pans asking for money, but they see you taking action. Again, that goes back with that whole follow the leader thing.
Yep.
Like, these guys are doing it on their own.
That's a good leader right there.
Absolutely.
Lead by example.
Exactly. So what's the story behind the shirts? I like the shirts. I like the design. These guys came in, gave me a shirt. I appreciate it. We have a tie-dye one, a plain black, which is my flavor. What's the whole thing behind? And you have the white one back there. That's right. Yeah. So the point, obviously, you're pushing these shirts, but what's the back say? What's the decal on the front? Just so everyone gets an idea.
So yeah, the front has our logo. It's a wave with a hand symbol of like giving back. And then on the back, it has like our social media handles as well as our brand. So you can see the wave on the back too. Like people always asking like, what's the wave? And we're like, this is the wave, man. It's right here.
Yeah, I like it.
What's the wave for the night?
I like it. And so you have the letters WAY kind of stand out more than the VE, which kind of explains your definition prior.
Correct.
How did you guys come up with the logo? Did you guys design it yourself, or you had help?
No, so
because I see a W in there too.
Yeah. A good friend of mine. He's a really good artist. His name's Billy. He owns a business called Custos Design, I believe. So we gave him the idea, like, we're trying to create a wave of change and we want to give back. And he created this awesome logo for us where it incorporates a W in the wave because we're the wave, and then a hand to suggest that we're giving something, so get on the wave of change.
I like it. Awesome. So I know earlier we talked about being an entrepreneur and starting your own, actually just taking action on all your ideas, right? Mm-hmm. In your opinion, whoever wants to go, Kyle and Jarred, what do you think is the hardest part about, a startup?
So starting a startup in general, like, oh my gosh, where do I get started?
That's the hardest part, getting started.
Exactly.
So as you said earlier, like there's always so many great ideas that you have, and you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But really, like sitting down and solidifying what it is exactly you want to do is probably the hardest part. And then on top of that, keeping everyone motivated, because once people lose motivation, it just goes downhill from there. So it's like, it's kind of like a roller coaster. You'll have your ups and your downs, but inevitably, if you just stick to it, you're gonna get to where you're going. And success is a journey, not a destination. So
I like it. What about you, Kyle?
The hardest part, I think, would be getting people to match your energy, because like you're always trying to delegate jobs to people that will do them better than you.
Yeah.
But like sometimes those people don't care as much as you do. So having the right team is the hardest part. So.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, especially with delegation.
Sure.
You got to find the person who wants it just as bad as you want it.
Exactly.
Because your name's stamped all over it. They're like, oh, that's the Wayve, or that's Bless Company, or that's Miguel's Riverside Barbershop, or that's whatever else. That's how they do things. And you're like, oh God, I hope to God someone's following what we're telling them, because you're letting them loose, and it's true. And matching that energy, and you're absolutely right with the whole motivation, keeping people motivated throughout the process. And I'll flip that question in reverse. What's the most rewarding part about this whole process?
Man, going out and doing these drops where we give back to people.
Yeah.
Honestly, the looks on their faces sometimes is just like priceless. They're like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I really needed this. I was so hungry, this, that, and the third. And just that feeling of like giving back and knowing that they're appreciative of it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, and I would suggest, if you haven't gone out and worked with a charity, it doesn't have to be us. Go out and find somebody local and witness that for yourself, that gratitude that people have when you're helping them. It's amazing.
It's priceless. I appreciate that. So once you do get, you guys are obviously started, but once you guys get the ball rolling, what's the overall goal for the Wayve? At least as of you guys think of it as of now. For sure, 2 years from now it's going to change, but right now.
So our goal right now currently is to file for our LLC and really get things going. And our big goal is just to make a positive impact, a positive lasting impact, so that when we're driving down the boulevard, we'll see, like, these people have a Ripple package sitting next to them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? When I drive down the boulevard, if I see someone, like, that has a Ripple package next to them, that right there is my goal. It's just to be able to be like, wow, I didn't give that to him, but someone I know or someone I know that knows someone gave that to them. And that right then and there is just like, that'll hit the heart, and I'll just be like, mission accomplished.
Absolutely. So is there anything that you guys believe that, maybe from your childhood that kind of contributed to who you are today? Is there something where you're like, I have family who are business owners, or I struggled, growing up, so I want to make this kind of change?
So growing up in the Levittown area, I've had a lot of friends that I've seen succumb to addiction, and one of my best friends growing up, rest in peace, Nick, he kind of inspired all this. So he wasn't educated on a lot of things that he started doing and trying, and it just led down a path of destruction that he didn't know he was going down until it was too late.
Right.
And by giving people access to resources and telling other people's stories and getting rid of this stigma around these problems with homelessness and drug addiction, I think will help open the eyes and maybe make people learn from others, before they end up in that situation themselves. So from witnessing people go down that path in my childhood, I want to be that person that I couldn't be when I was younger, So
I love it. Awesome.
Just to go off of that kind of back to the whole like sharing people's stories. I feel like that's the most important thing, is like thousands of years back, like people always would share stories. They would tell stories around a campfire and stuff like that. And it's just like, that is like something that's kind of going away with the technology and stuff like that. I'm glad that we have podcasts and things like that people can listen to kind of tell people's story, because like you said, judging that book by its cover, you don't know anything that's in that book, like how they got there. So if you knew and you're like, wow, I was the same major, or I was like on the same path, and then like he took that turn, I took this turn. Wow, what if I made that turn? It opened your eyes a little bit, makes you see like people need to start sharing their stories. And we want to be that person.
No, that's how this podcast started. It was just like us. We were sitting out, like, we like to smoke cigars. We're sitting out back smoking cigars. We're just telling stories, and we all grew up like together, but everyone has like their own different story. It could be the same scenario, but they have a different point of view. So like to hear a different story, the same or similar story. Like I have same thing. We've had friends that were in drug like in addiction issues and stuff like that, and everyone has like a story. So it's like you said, to like sit down, like everyone kind of tell their story. So like especially younger kids now, they can hear what like the negative things or the positive things. So they have like they're being educated in a way just from people that've been through it or haven't been through it or know someone that's been through it. So it's like you said, we don't have that, like no one's sitting around telling us stories, and like I didn't hear stories from, you know what I mean, like negative things that were going on. I just we caught it. We like we stayed away from stuff like that. Just like we got lucky, but yeah, there isn't no like I don't know, no story time, no storytelling. You know what I mean? Like in the real world though, like
absolutely, it's a medium too, because sometimes, as you all know, obviously, you know, whether you had, you know, some level of adult, you know, leading your life, sometimes you didn't always want to hear it from them. You know what I'm saying? Like they're probably telling you the most dime thing ever, gold, pure diamond knowledge, right? And it's just because it's coming from them, you don't want to hear it. But you hear it from someone your age or someone who's been through, you know, in another part of the world, all of a sudden it impacts you, you know, like no other. Which is very interesting about the human. How do you guys manage? I know you just graduated. I know Kyle, you're still in school. How do you guys manage that work-life balance with, you know, the business?
That's a great question. So managing that, it's really time management, honestly. That's what I learned in college, was time management, as well as like a couple of the jobs that I'm working right now. So one of my jobs, I work with vector marketing. So I set up my own appointments. I make my own schedule and stuff like that. If I don't go out, I don't make money. So it's like, it's like you got to motivate yourself. No one else is going to be that motivator for you to push to be a better version of yourself. So like having that time management, I feel like, is the most important part. And then also I work with a CBD company, Hemptopia CBD. So I'm all about like helping people, as you know, with the Wayve. And I've seen what pharmaceuticals have done to people. Like family, friends of friends, everything. So it's like, if they could take CBD versus taking a pharmaceutical drug, 100% I would recommend them try that over the pharmaceutical. And now that it's like booming and people are really starting to try it, people are actually weaning off certain medications. And it's awesome. It's like, wow, why did we not have this sooner?
For sure. What about you, Kyle?
So most of it's like time management, like Jarred said, but also being flexible. Like he's has a busy schedule, I have a busy schedule, and sometimes things don't line up and we get frustrated with each other. But it's always about actually making time, you know, like you always have time for things that are important to you, and this is something that's very important to both of us. So we always just find a way to get together and to keep working towards what we're trying to accomplish.
I like it. And we'll close with this question. You know, you guys know it firsthand, but if someone's, you know, trying to start their own thing, what's your recommendation to anyone trying to start their own charity?
Don't give up.
For sure.
Keep pushing. Don't give up. Stay motivated. If it's something that you really, really want to do, then do it. No one's holding you back but yourself.
I love it.
If there's a way to do it, you'll make it happen if it means enough.
And tell people about it. You'll be surprised. Like that's how this all started for us. You know, just talking to like-minded individuals, and we all just came together, and we all have different areas that we're good at. And it just talk about it. You tell everybody what you're trying to do and why, and you'll get somewhere.
You want to speak things into existence, basically. There's a Gandhi quote. Ghandi, great dude. So
what a guy.
My boy.
So listen to this. So one of his quotes is, "A man is but the product of his thoughts, and what he thinks he becomes."
I love it. I'm rereading Think and Grow Rich. So what you just said, it's hysterical. Actually, they reached out to me. So I'm actually having an interview with them in like 2 weeks to explain, you know, how that transformed my mind and all that good stuff.
Awesome.
But
that's awesome.
Heck yeah. But anyway, thank you for leading off with a quote. I'll add another one to that by Jim Rohn, who's the man as well. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. if anyone's trying to reach you all, what are your social media handles?
Yeah, shout out to our social media. It's the Wayve PHL. You can find us on Instagram, find us on Twitter, Facebook, you name it. We're looking to start up a YouTube channel too.
Nice.
So that's in the works. But yeah, the Wayve PHL. So TheWayvePHL.
Nice.
And also our website, it's www.thewayve-wayve.com. We're going to have our online store, a blog that features all of our everything that we're doing, and information about us and why we are who we are.
Yeah, man. Eventually, we're going to have them stories that we were talking about. Yeah. That's going to be something you guys can look into as well. So we're going to be sharing them stories. We're going to be doing, like, not even interviews, just, like, having normal conversations with these people, you know? Like, just so it's more personable. So they're not, like, we're not holding a microphone up to them, like, hey, tell me your story.
Right.
They don't want to talk to us if we do that.
Exactly.
Like, plain and simple. No one wants to do that.
Exactly.
So we're just going to talk to them and just get their story and tell them, hey, like, we want you to have a voice. Yeah. So we want to really do big things and share them stories.
I like it. There's also a thing too, maybe to add on. Maybe you had this in mind where I used to work for a rehab company, and they would show success stories.
Yes.
So maybe eventually connecting back with those people who maybe you helped 2 years ago, and they come back, or help volunteer, and all of a sudden they turn into a positive outcome or a result. Of your leadership. So.
Yeah, someone we're partnered up with is the West Kensington Ministry.
Okay.
And they've done a lot of really great things, like transforming people's lives so that they have their own stories already.
Wow.
And that's through West Kensington Ministry. So we're collaborating with them so that eventually we can have it be like, hey, we work together on this.
Yeah.
And we helped impact this person's life. Now they're sober and they're living a happy life that they want to live.
I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right, so there you have it, folks. Ride the Wave. In this episode, we have special guests Jarred Colligon and Kyle Currey. We cover topics that range from charity, volunteer work, homelessness, education, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Jim Rohn Ghandi. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.